movie. So this is my very first live. And I want to say thank you for joining me today. So today we're going to be talking about Stranger Things and all good Stranger Things. So let's start. I just want to make sure everything is good here and everyone can hear me. All right, so let's start. So if you see me looking at a piece of paper like this, these are my notes. So I want to say, if you haven't watched season 5 yet, you don't have to worry. Like, you can, if you haven't seen the previous seasons, it doesn't matter because season 5, what's good about season 5 is that you could pretty much go in there blind because you're going to get a lot of like refresh. So to me, I really like this season. Like, I enjoy it. I don't like it like the previous seasons. So I find it to be a little derivative and a little bit of the same. And if you watch the first episode of the fourth season, you'll notice that it's very similar to the first episode of the fifth season. So unfortunately, it's just laziness. But anyways, so what is The Crawl? So that's what the episode is. The episode is called The Crawl. And so basically what it is the gang, the Scooby Gang, are going to do surveillance on the military. So this is what I thought was interesting. That's what I'm going to talk about, then talk about the negative sides of it. Okay. So I liked, like, there's a rehash of like for the very first season, the Wheeler house. You see the present day. That's apparent in this first episode. After the flashback, you see that. So very similar, very pretty much the same thing. And that was cool. Just, seeing that old house and, Atlanta where they shot. Um, I thought it was really, excuse me, I thought it was very fascinating how they showcased Karen as an alcoholic, as a functional alcoholic. So I thought that was really fascinating, and it's like, it's very relatable. You could totally, there's a lot of people who are functional alcoholics, and so it was very interesting. I honestly, to be honest, I think they should have killed Karen off uh, on the very first episode because I think the biggest issue with this season is there's just not enough stakes. It's the final season. Duffers have said it's the final season. We're gonna close the doors on a lot of stuff, so you kind of wanna, you know, have some stakes. I thought Karen and Ted should have died. And that's another thing about Ted. Ted's a funny character. I know a lot of people don't like Ted, but I really think he's fascinating. Like the breakfast scene at the beginning of episode 1, and how they're passing around bacon, and then it gets to him, and then it's like there's no more bacon, just scrap, like just little crumbs. And it's really sad because he pays for everything. He's like the breadwinner, and he's still like treated like he's an idiot. I mean, he's just like, just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Anyways, so I thought that was, Karen being an alkie was really fascinating. It's interesting how Murray is really benched this season. He's another one I think they could have killed off if they wanted to, but I think they could have killed his character off. Um, so the military hunting 11, I thought that was cool, and it was, and then of course you see, Hopper training 11, and then how he's making jokes and, oh, we're gonna do this, and so okay, Rockin' Robin. Now, I think she's the one of the MVPs of the season, and so is Will. It's really their season. I really liked how she, was letting others know about the government, and how she kind of speaks to everyone in like code and stuff like that. So about when there's going to be a crawl, especially the others. Um, so, what about you guys? What did you guys think of the first episode? Just give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought it was interesting, like, and this is again why I think it's very derivative of the fourth season a little bit. And because I love all seasons of Stranger Things, I think it's so cool. Like in the fourth season, how Robin and Steve were working in the video store. It's very similar here, where they're working for a radio station, and so it's like it's cool. I didn't. Okay, so here's what I didn't like. I didn't like the whole competition with with like Steve and Jonathan. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. And this is what I mean. I think they could have created more stakes for the characters and had them, like there's more story. Because I don't think a lot of like I've been hearing a lot from other viewers that this is like it's not very original this season, this final season, and I'm like a lot of stuff kind of isn't, but I think the massive difference between the earlier seasons that set them apart from the fifth season is that there was an actual story going on. There's like really good visuals, structure was better. So okay. So it just seems like that was just there just to, because they didn't know what to do. Like they didn't, they have all this cool stuff for the first 5 episodes, like for the last 5 episodes, and you know, I didn't like 11. I thought Millie Bobby Brown was better last season. I think she's kind of acting like a brat, and I know she wants to prove herself, but I think they could have done it a little bit more differently. Nancy losing her cool. And it's like, I like Nancy the first 2 seasons. Now it's like, I just feel like Natalia Dyer doesn't care where her character is going anymore. I mean, Nancy is such a very underdeveloped character. And it's just too bad that, like, she doesn't really get her due. Like, I mean, but I think that's a little bit fault of Natalia Dyer because I don't think she has much range. Um, but and also the writers and the Duffers because they don't really want to do anything with her. She's just your typical arrogant, bossy, you know, high schooler. And I don't understand. Like Nancy is supposed to be like the most beautiful girl, and then they make her like her hair just like does not look good. Like, what is? I mean, I get it's the '80s, but what are they doing to her hair? I mean, I think they could do. It's like Karen too. Like in the first 3 seasons, her character her hair looked great, and then all of a sudden, it just doesn't. So, yeah, I just thought Nancy losing her cool and just being emotional and just like, yeah, I think, and that's what I love about the show is how they showcase women and how they show like women, just like men, will use men. Like women will use men and how they do it, and how they kind of will. Trying to think, being respectful here, tr- um, and how they don't really like them. They just lead them on a little bit more, and it's really unfortunate because they don't want to communicate, But women are different from men, to where women just want men to read their minds a lot of, unfortunately. Okay, so that's kind of what I didn't like. Let's go on to the second. So this one is basically after the Wheelers are attacked. Um, so the flashback exposition, you get a lot of flashbacks in this episode. So if you didn't watch the previous seasons, you could just jump right in. I thought it was really, I don't know why they did this, but Joyce, it felt like Robin and Joyce had the same thing that Robin had with Nancy in season 4, you know. And I liked how she was like being very protective of Will, and but didn't want to let him like fly and like fly away, and which is pretty common. That's pretty relatable. Um, yeah. But okay, so let's go to like episode 2 is fine. It's very similar to the first one. I mean, it was really cool to see like Mike and um, Nancy kind of be siblings for once. So I mean, they're actually like doing something, and in like the hospital, and they kind of have like, oh, you know, um, Holly was taken, and that was really good. So let's move on to the episode 3 here. Okay, so I have to admit, I really like the Derek character. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I really like him. And I think he's a good actor too. He's a bully, and it's really fascinating, like his development, because when you look at his character, a lot of that happens a lot. A lot of it happens in families to where they learn to be a bully because they see other behavior. Like kids are so smart and they pick up on a lot of behavior. So that's why he talks like that, because he gets it from his sister. You see that dynamic between him and his sister. And so it's so funny. And then the mom just doesn't care, or the dad doesn't care too. So they're just very lousy parents. And I did really like the pie. The pie sequence was really cool, what they did. Um, I think the kryptonite is what it was called. How it cripples Eleven's powers was very fascinating, and I'm sure we'll get more of that. That was really cool, and how it really, cripples. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't talk about was Linda Hamilton. I think she's fantastic in this season. I don't think I've ever seen her be like an antagonist character before. I think that was super cool. Really fascinating. Her character was like horrible. I think she's horrible than Brenner. Brenner was just like, he did some really awful things, but she just will like, experiment. She just wants to experiment on 11. So she's doing a great job this season. I'm so glad they got Linda Hamilton. So yeah. And I just there's times with this season. Just I think maybe the earlier seasons. I think more this season. I just wish the writing was better for like 11, because it's like it's been years and she's still talking like she's very underdeveloped. Like her character, like as a human, she's so underdeveloped, and it would just be nice to see more of that. Like that, like, okay, she's been going to school, she's been getting educated, so why is she still talking like she doesn't know how to talk to people? I just wish they would kind of do more development. And then of course David Harbour in this season is amazing. He's a delight. David Harbour's always a delight to watch, and he seems like he's not a bad person. Um okay. Um Erica Sinclair. I don't really like her character. To me, she's a lot like Derek. And that's probably why they gonna like get along to a point. Cause she's very bossy and she's a bully. She's just like Derek. So I liked how they brought her in, and the physics stuff that they were talking about. I, the Einstein Rosenberg Bridge, I think it was called. So I really like that scene. It was nice to see the old teacher back from the first 3 seasons. I'm glad they brought him back. And it's kind of obvious whenever you see these press, like the press events that they have, and a lot of these older characters show up, there's a good chance they're going to be in the show. So it's, yeah. So the pie scene was really funny. I honestly thought like Tammy, I think what it was like, you know, um, I can't remember her name, but I thought she was gonna be black for some reason. I don't know why. And then when you find out she's white, it's just so funny. And then yeah, because you know Tammy, yeah, like no, I think it's someone else. But anyways, it's just so funny that girl, that the house that they go to. It's like yeah, because like Erica tried to steal her boyfriend. It's so yeah, it's so Erica. I could totally see it happening. So let's move on to the final episode. But I'll be honest, before I move on to Sorcerer, the third episode is really where things start to go. And it's really unfortunate. I was expecting a lot more from this season. But, it's like it starts to get going a little bit. I think some of the episodes are a little too long than they need to be. I like a long movie, but if it flows really well, whenever it flows and it goes and it moves, it's pretty awesome. But when it just, yeah, you could have maybe cut some of this stuff out. But so this one is the Military Titans. You know, it was nice to see that military guy finally get his due from the last season. I didn't like Will is a superhero. He's basically Harry Potter. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but why did you guys do this before? Like, I mean, it's you've had 5 seasons now to do it. It's like, why didn't you do it before? And he's Harry Potter, because he sees visions, he sees what Vecna is doing, and he can see it, and he can see the victim that he's going after. It's like, okay, I mean, I think if they were gonna do that, it would have just been nicer to have more of a build up. And why hasn't he had visions before? Like, I mean, which is weird because he's been like, um, uh, excuse me, yeah, benched. Will has been benched for like since after like season one. He was pretty much benched, and maybe with more of the third and fourth season. Yeah. So I don't understand why now. It's fine. It's just kind of like there's some structure issues there that just don't make sense. Um, I didn't really think they needed a flashback between Will and Mike because we kind of already had that. Like we kind of already knew that about like Will liked Mike, but Mike didn't like Will back, and it was obvious in like the third season. So the Darth Vader moment was cool when Vecna comes out, and and he starts killing a lot of the military guys. That was pretty cool. Um, I mean, that's pretty much my notes, but I'm gonna keep talking about it. I really enjoyed the season. I've watched it a couple of times. I love Stranger Things. This is one of my favorite shows, and to me, this is like I've been following the show since it came out, and to me, it reminds me of those classic shows like where you had to watch it every week, you know. And I'm really excited. I just hope like they're promising all these things are gonna happen. I just really hope um things happen. So what are you guys hoping for? Are you hoping for anything exciting? So just give me 1 second here. So I'm kind of getting used to this thing. But yeah, I mean, hmm. Yeah, it's weird. I was looking at the messages, but I haven't seen any on there. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Jamie Cameron Bauer is pretty cool. No official Fisher, I think is her name. I think she's great. It took me a while to get used to her because I was just so used to that Holly, the original Holly, and I get why they aged her up a little bit to make her look older. Um, and also to maybe the parents didn't want it, So, um, but yeah, I'm still gonna watch the rest of the season. Are any of you gonna see it in like the theater? Like see the final episode in like the theater? Because I'm hearing it's like 2.5 hours. I might check it out because I do want to see that Marty Supreme, and I might just wait till New Year's to go and see it. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be fun. Um, I just didn't like. I just thought this season could have been a lot better and more organized. Um, so I hope it gets better. But anyways, I think I'm gonna cut it short. because I'm having some technical difficulties here. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this my very first stream and talking about spoiler review of Stranger Things. I'm sorry if I rambled on a lot, but so I'll see you guys for the next episode.